Normally, I would not give the modern Lionel single-truck Birneys a second glance. After all, it should be beneath any self-respecting adult collector to bother with anything so far down the Lionel food chain, especially when there are so many other great trains in the O-gauge line. The Birney trolleys that were produced for the Lionel Collectors Club of America and the Train Collectors Association annual meetings in 2014 and 2015 prompted a serious attitude readjustment on my part for having missed the collector potential of these little motorized units. The current crop of Lionel Birney bumper trolleys can trace their heritage back to the post-war number 60s, the red-roofed and yellow-bodied motorized units sold from 1955 through 1958. They had Lionelville Rapid Transit written on their sides in either black or blue, a heavy open-framed motor, and a spring bumper on both ends for bump and reverse operation. The new trolleys work the same way. They reverse when they bump into an obstacle, but they are significantly different cosmetically and mechanically. Here are the 4 LCCA trolleys in their Lionel boxes that were made for the annual 2014 and 2015 conventions. And here is another view of the 4 Birneys without the boxes. The 2014 LCCA annual convention was held in Indianapolis, Indiana, and these 2 trolleys salute that part of the country. The registration trolley was given to the first 400 attendees who registered for the convention and stayed at the convention hotel. The registration trolley set the standard for the elaborate and colorful decorative schemes worn by the rest of the 2014 and 2015 Lionel Collector Club Birneys. Starting at the top and working our way down, the registration trolley has a flat, finished silver roof with 2 movable spring-loaded trolley poles. The orange sides and ends are trimmed in maroon in shades that are reminiscent of the Milwaukee Road livery. There are silver railings on the lower part of the side windows. The interior has silhouettes representing the motormen at each end and the passengers in the middle, operating LEDs on the ends, and an incandescent bulb in the middle of the body to light the silhouettes. The sides have the South Shore Line logo printed in maroon with gold letters. There is a smaller version of the South Shore Line logo on both ends of the trolley, and one end has the number 14 with registration gift printed in a circle around it. Each side has a small set of markings that read 58586, built by Lionel 2014. The banquet trolley was given as a prize to one very lucky person who sat at each banquet table at the formal dinner that climaxed the annual LCCA convention. Since there were no more than 60 tables at the banquet dinner, there were far fewer 2014 banquet trolleys given out than registration trolleys, and offers for them were in the $300 to $400 range immediately after the dinner for those who just had to have one. The paint scheme for the banquet trolley was the reverse of the more numerous registration trolleys. The sides and ends were maroon and the trim was orange. The combination produced a striking color scheme on the Birney and made this instantly rare trolley all the more desirable in the eyes of collectors. The rest of the letters and markings were the same for both trolleys with 2 exceptions. The small set of markings on the sides carried the number 58587, and one end of the trolley had the number 10 with banquet gifts circling the number. Underneath, each trolley has 2 center rail rollers and traction tires on one of its 4 wheels. The trolleys are also marked with LCCA 2014 in white on the structure supporting their silver gray bumpers. The LCCA chose Boston, Massachusetts for their 2015 annual convention, which gave the designers of the paint schemes for the 2 convention trolleys a variety of appropriate decorative choices with historical themes. The 2015 registration trolley was finished in tan on the top half and orange-brown on the bottom half of both sides and ends. Above the side windows was printed 1 if by land, 2 if by sea, and below the protective railings on the side windows were 3 colorful images spaced across the bottom of the trolley. In the first image, the phrase Boston Trolley circled a head-on view of the Birney. The middle of the car was occupied by the stylized slogan, Chowder and Choo-Choos, and the third sign was a white rectangle featuring an elaborately illustrated color picture of the USS Constitution in full sail with "Sea Old Ironsides, USS Constitution, Boston Navy Yard" written below it. The ends had 3 silver wings flanking the LED headlight, and above the passenger getting off the Birney was the number 45, located just under the silver roof. The banquet car had the same elaborate decorations on its flanks and ends as the more common registration car, but the banquet car was painted in just the opposite colors on the sides and ends. The top half of the car was done in orange-brown, and the bottom was painted in tan. In addition, one end of the banquet trolley carried Banquet Car 11 on it, along with 3 silver wings on both sides of the headlight. All of the Boston Birneys had LCCA 2015 printed on the underside of the bumper supports, and this is a help in identifying which year they were made. The TCA also ordered similar trolleys and had 2 Birneys made for their 2015 National Convention. Here are the 2 TCA trolleys that were built for the 2015 National Convention in their orange Lionel boxes, and here are the TCA trolleys out of their boxes. The 2015 Train Collectors Association annual meeting was hosted by the Metropolitan Division of the TCA, METCA. The meeting activities and layout visits were held throughout the tri-state area of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. The graphic designers of the 2 Lionel-produced TCA trolleys used the rich local history of streetcar operations on both sides of the Hudson River in New York and New Jersey as their inspiration, and the end result was 2 very good-looking Birney trolleys. The deep maroon and white Bergen County Traction Company Birney, with a silver stripe around the body, commemorated the passenger service to the famous Palisades amusement park that overlooked the Hudson River from the New Jersey side. Below the passenger windows on both sides of the car was a detailed public service circular logo in blue, gold, white, and red, with a thick red triangle outlined in the center of the logo. Both ends of the trolley carry the year 2015 in white, below the silver stripe that circles the Birney. The word Palisades is printed on the lighted rectangular sign positioned just beneath the silver roof. The Coney Island and Brooklyn trolley is clothed in its green and white livery, with a red band circling its body. The handsome two-tone trolley celebrates the ride to the world-famous Coney Island Amusement Park in Brooklyn, New York, which is still going strong. Both sides of the green and white Birney carry the rectangular BMT Lines logo in red, gold, and white. The ends of the trolley have white 2015 numbers on them just below the red band. Under the roof, the illuminated rectangular sign says Boardwalk on it. Both the New York and the New Jersey Birneys also have TCA 2015 printed on their undercarriages. We'd like to acknowledge the good folks at the Train Collectors Association for letting us have the 2015 annual meeting Birneys we used to illustrate this talk. Our thanks go to Bob Zubanski, Chairman of the TCA Museum Education Committee, Russ Kyle, President of the Atlantic Division, and Tammy Hirsch, Office Manager at TCA National. Comparing one of the 2015 Birneys with an earlier model Birney illustrates just how far these trolleys have come in terms of appearance and operation. This is the 8690 of 1986-1987, which is an improved version of the post-war number 60 trolley, done in the official Lionel colors of orange and blue with plastic-covered bumpers and 8690 Lionel lines on the sides. It's an attractive trolley and runs well if a little loudly, but it looks crude next to the 2015 LCCA banquet car. The reversible trolley pole on the 8690 is the same old bent piece of silver wire used on the post-war number 60, and the plastic-covered bumpers have a chunky appearance that makes them look too big for the short Birney body, which is a little over 6.5 inches long. The new Birneys have bumpers that are much better proportioned for the Birney body, and the fixed trolley poles eliminate the reversing problems that the single reversible trolley pole sometimes caused when the bumper feature was activated. The LCCA chose to use the tooling for the protective railings covering the bottom half of the side windows for their trolleys, which dramatically changes their appearance and makes the stubby Birney bodies look longer. The silhouettes of the passengers of these current production Birneys are dressed in 1940s, 1950s clothing, and that is a detail which also adds to their appeal. Lighting on the new Birneys is much more reliable, thanks to the LEDs specified for the directional headlights. The owner's manual for the Birneys states, "The headlights are illuminated by LEDs, which are expected to last the lifetime of this product." The interior lamp that lights up the motormen and the passengers is a different story. It's a regular incandescent, and the constant impacts of the reversing bumpers take a toll on bulb life, which is why each trolley is supplied with a spare bulb. Are the new lighter trolley innards as sturdy as the heavy mechanisms of the old trolleys? The answer is probably not, but they work more smoothly than their predecessors, and they operate reliably for hours and hours and days at a time. This is backed up by the experience of the TCA museum staff running their new Birneys and the LCCA Convention volunteers who operated their club trolleys for 2 years in a row at their annual meetings in a less than gentle manner. This also tallies with my own experiences in extensively running the Birneys that I have. Since this is the Lionel Collectors Club of America, I'm going to lay out the case for the collectibility of the Birney trolleys. There are several reasons why I think these Birneys are collectible, especially in this age of tight budgets for many O-gauge collectors. First, they're undeniably attractive, with appealing paint schemes that are historically significant. Second, they make colorful shelf pieces, and they run well, which is a positive consideration for many O-gauge collectors these days. Third, all 6 of the Collector Club Birneys are single-run items that were made in relatively small quantities and will not be produced again. According to Lionel, the minimum order quantity for these motorized units is 500 pieces. As an example, the LCCA offered the first 400 persons in 2014 and 2015 who signed up for our annual conventions and who also stayed at the convention hotel a free registration trolley, which suggests that not many more than the MOQ for each year were made, even when the tiny quantity of LCCA banquet trolleys is factored into the combined total. Given the number of persons who typically attend the Train Collector Association national conventions, the number of Birneys produced for the 2015 TCA National Convention in the tri-state area was probably approximately equivalent to the LCCA totals. Checking with club contacts and examining internet sites indicates that 4 out of 6 of the trolleys can be had for less than $100 each, and in some cases significantly less. The only 2 that are a bit pricey are the LCCA banquet trolleys, which were made in such tiny quantities for the 2014 and 2015 annual conventions. They're harder to find, and that only adds to the enjoyable challenge of trying to acquire all 6 Birneys to make your collection complete.